Hello there and welcome to the Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley. My name is Drax de Dupre and hey Joe, Joe is with me here. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm all right.
We have a big panel today. We have a bunch of guests today because this is a special show which will annoy the hell out of Second Life folks because we're only going to be talking about Facebook and goggledygoos, right Joe?
Okay.
Oh, you didn't know that, so you you still have an opportunity to hang up and do something else.
Goggledygoo?
Facebook had an event. It's called the F8 event, and they announced a whole bunch of things. And one of the things they announced was Facebook Social VR, and they called it Spaces.
Hey. Linden Lab also has Spaces. They should sue.
Let me briefly say that you're listening to the Drax Files Radio. You can support this show. I'm going to just give you this spiel in 30 seconds. You can send us an email, radio@draxfiles.com. You can tip the avatar. You can let us know if you want to be a corporate sponsor and all that, and then we let you know why. Well, you know why, because you value this podcast.
And we need money.
We need money, that's right. If you are a Second Life enthusiast and resident, do not stop listening because we will talk about what Facebook has to offer from the Second Life point of view, because we have a panel of folks who are all active Second Life residents and who really care about this world. And I also want to say what is especially interesting is that a lot of former Linden Lab employees are now employed with Facebook. One person, Jim Perbig, a.k.a. Babbage Linden, is actually one of the lead developers of Facebook Social VR. So we're going to be talking about what are the similarities. Maybe they learned something. But let me first introduce, before I introduce our other guests, let me introduce Rob Lim VR, who's been on the show before. Hi, Rob.
Hey, how's it going?
Rob is I think, Rob, you're among the 100 biggest influencers in the VR world on Twitter, according to someone. Is that true?
Yeah, on Analytica.com, they rank influencers. So, yeah, I'm in the top 10 for VR and AR.
But to be honest, I mean, Drax, you and I aren't on that list. So how important can that list be?
Not at all.
We're too important, Joe. We don't.
Yeah, I was number one, but I'm so modest. I asked them to remove me.
Rob, can you summarize a little bit what happened in that F8 developer conference that Facebook did? What were some of the other things that they were talking about? I mean, we're going to be focusing on social VR later on, but what are some of the other things that you found important?
One of the things they highlighted is the fact that they're bringing cameras into all their applications. And the reason for that is they're starting to get into augmented reality. Putting a lot of it's very much like Snapchat filters, where you can put objects down onto spaces and move yourself in with them, and they're going to be getting into face filters, much like Snapchat. But they're going to make this into an ecosystem where you can actually build your own, as opposed to just things showing up.
Example is being used. You can place something on the refrigerator, like an augmented reality note that you can only see if you can then look through your camera of your smartphone. You can see that note on the fridge.
Yeah, I mean it's something. This is what Snapchat's been doing along for quite a while, where they have both face filters. They can look at yourself like a dog or whatever, and they also have other objects that you can place in space. Like little rainbows that'll sit on your desk or something like that while you're talking. And
you can rate a restaurant, so then if somebody goes to that restaurant, you can also hold up your phone, you can see the ratings that somebody put there.
Yeah, they have some stuff like that. Facebook seems like they're opening it up so that you could do your own. So like if you wanted to have a Draxter logo sitting next to you while you're talking or something like that, you could make that logo imported into the system.
Oh my God. See, now I'm sold. I thought it was lame, but now you're talking about Draxter logos. I'm like, look.
Yeah, well, it is lame that it's just that they're copying what's going on with with things like Snapchat, and they made a big deal out of the fact that they're using SLAM, that simultaneous location and mapping, so that it would like sit on a table, so it would recognize where it is on the table and wouldn't just be like something spinning around in space.
You can't sit on a table. That's against etiquette.
Joe, we're not in the 20s anymore. I hear my Second Life, our Second Life audience who are like, oh my God, please don't make this hour about this crap. Guys, no, we're not gonna. I'm gonna focus on this segment. We're gonna just have a few more minutes kind of an overview, and then we're going to talk social VR. I promise you guys. Some of the other things that I want to highlight, and then Rob, back to you, and then we're going to go to social VR. One of the things is the new cameras that are coming. I find it interesting because I do some stuff in 360, and we have a project that originated in Second Life where we're going to do 360. They have announced two cameras, one the Surround 24 and then the 6 with 6 lenses, the other one with 24. These are 360-degree cameras, and they're working with a company called Otoy, and this is actually really amazing because we're going to link to that little video. You can film something in 360, the entire real-life room or sphere, and then you can send it to the Otoy cloud, and Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, then that stuff gets basically, the light field is captured, and then you can import that into a virtual world and basically make this your playground and rearrange it and put virtual lights in it and all sorts of things, and basically treat that real footage as a virtual world, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be centered around your head in place of where the camera is. So this isn't going to create a complete world like the backs of objects over like that. This is going to be more of a 360 3D situation.
That's right, because we cannot change where the camera.
Still only picking up the photons that are around the camera. If you're going to do like a full wraparound, you have to have cameras completely around the area that you want to be recording. But because this also does 3D, it increases the immersive nature. It's not just a flat 360.
So we're going to link to all this stuff. There's a really impressive demo. Also, these cameras I don't think are available right now. I think you can rent it if you're a professional. You have to email them or whatnot. Also, then they have messenger bots, which is awesome because we need more bots. So I'm sorry, this is. I know this is the Drax Files Cynical Hour with Cynical Drax, but that announcement to me was like, cool, we can have more messenger bots. Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble because of a lot of bots, no? I mean, what's up with the bots? So last word, and then I want to introduce my other guest. Rob, what's the significance of these chat bots?
It's a way they're also trying to leverage artificial intelligence as part of their big push, which will mix in a lot of these different things. So, that the messenger bots, I mean, they've been a nightmare in the past. Hopefully this new one's a little bit better. They tend to have problems with context, and that's what they've been trying to figure out. So it's like if we're having a conversation with a bot about a travel arrangement, it'll put that into context. So,
I also think the bots have problems with distinguishing between fake and real news. I don't know. I mean, I heard something about that.
The problem I have with bots is that they are so informal.
And they have long hair, Joe.
Well, I have actually complained to companies that, they're helping me online, and I get this bot and it says, hey, how can I help you? What are you doing? What's the problem? And I'm going, excuse me? Do you know who I am?
We have 3 more guests today. We have Rai Fargis, who is a Second Life resident, and in real life, he's also a radio host, so he knows about timing, which is good.
Hi, how are you?
And we have Judas, who I know in many different worlds. I think Judas is currently...
Yeah, in all of them.
And then we have, of course, the grandfather of SL Aviation, QB Terra. Hi, QB.
Hi there. I preferred godfather to grandfather. Don't be ageist here.
Right.
I don't want to find a horse in my bed.
Okay, not that kind of god. How about just guy?
You are the guy, and you have... Let me
Dude.
start with you real quick, because you have a headset on order. So you have not experienced Facebook Spaces. Of course, Joe hasn't either, because she doesn't like cartoon figures.
Oh, I can't wait, but my MacBook is 10 years old, literally.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen.
You're out of the running, and people always claim Second Life as a problem with accessibility. QB, tell me when you saw this announcement with these cartoon figures, and again, if people are not familiar with this, please look on our blog and you see the trailer for Facebook Spaces.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. You have hands and you have a cartoon head. What went through your cartoon head, QB, when you saw this within the Second Life context?
Well, within a Second Life context, okay, getting past the fact that it looks just ridiculous. I mean, completely. It's social VR. It's great. Everybody's going to be doing social VR. as long as they have the right hardware. And the first thing I approached it from the context of an article. It wasn't the Engadget article. It was the other one. Anyway, I can't remember. But it was another one where the writer was really skeptical about the entire thing. Will social VR take off? And it's, well, of course social VR will take off. Second Life has been that for, over a decade. And when I saw it, the first thing I thought was, well, okay, we're going to do social VR through Facebook, but nobody has any hardware. How's that going to work? But my first impression was, if people have the hardware, it looks fun. But I don't think that's what people go to Facebook for in particular.
So why do people go to Facebook? Don't you think? Because when I saw, here people can take selfies. I mean, the cynic in me said, oh, this is perfect for the Facebook crowd because that's all they want. It's all complete narcissism. They can take selfies and they can chat about their breakfast, and that's it.
It's not really a place, though. It's sort of it's not a real-time kind of thing. Like, Facebook has chat, but not a lot of people actually use chat, as far as I know. So this is like extending Facebook chat. How many people actually go into Facebook expecting somebody to be there right then?
QB, you're talking about basically when you say you don't think it's not something attractive for the people you saw because of the synchronous nature, basically, right?
Right. It's synchronous when people use Facebook asynchronously. And the other reason it won't work is because the vast majority of people don't have the hardware for it. Now, unless if they adapt it for the average smartphone, then they'll have something, maybe.
I was gonna just throw in that with the synchronous asynchronous thing, I think QB is making a fantastic point, because I think that all these other competitors to Second Life really failed because they couldn't grab people in the synchronous space. People were just not. They didn't want to basically invest the time to be there. They wanted to just quickly say yes, no, maybe, or you suck, I love you, but not right at the moment. They wanted to say when they were on a coffee break. So Rai, you tried it. How did it feel? And how about maybe you can illuminate us on what Joe was confused about, and I am frankly also, I don't know how that works.
So what I have seen so far in Spaces, I mean, I agree that the avatars look a little bit ridiculous, cartoonish, but the platform makes it really easy to set up your avatar, because when I used it the first time, I saw 6 of my photos that I uploaded to Facebook years ago, and that were tagged with my name, and I could pick one of these photos and the avatar would be created automatically based on my picture. That looked pretty cool. And
that is good.
I think they make it really easy. And the thing that makes Spaces special to me is the fact that it can function as an interface between the virtual world and the physical world. That means you can bring up your friends list and make a video call to a messenger friend, to a friend via video messenger. I did this several times, and people were confused. Oh, why is he calling me? And then they saw me inside the virtual world on their messenger video, and I saw their physical appearance, and they saw my avatar. So that really connects the virtual world and the old school internet world. And now you have Facebook here with 2 billion users. That's a giant user base, and you can connect 360-degree pictures, 360-degree videos, video games, and Facebook is not just for chatting. A lot of people played Farmville, and people create these games on Facebook. So you will have a platform that has all these games and videos in it. I think that's pretty interesting. Having said that, a lot of things still seem like it's a beta version, but a very early beta version. Sometimes it's kind of like a demo. You can't really search for friends. The friends list is really large, and in my case, more than 1,500 people, and it's hard to search for friends. And you don't have a search engine for videos either. So that's a bit annoying still, but I think it will get there, and it's interesting.
Let me jump in here real quick, because you mentioned when you then do sort of a mixed reality call, you call from within the virtual world, and what you mean by that is you're surrounded basically by a 360 image or by a 360 video loop, and that's kind of the world you're in, right?
Right. So it's not really virtual reality in the sense that we have to make a difference between 360-degree video and real VR. But there are some elements, some 3D graphic elements superimposed on the video where you have your little tiny toys like the selfie stick and the pen, and you can draw 3D images in space with your pen, and you can attach the images that you paint in the air to your avatar. So I can draw some Neko ears, and I can wear the Neko ears like I would do in Second Life, and that's really great. And I think there will be a lot of stuff like that added to the functionality of Facebook.
I think it was slowly edging towards what it will be or what it can be.
Yeah.
Was when the girl is showing these pictures of what her room is going to look like.
In the trailer, yeah, you're talking.
Yeah, and I think that in the future, near future, in Facebook VR, you'll have this room for yourself, which will be your page, and this will be your profile, and this is where you put your pictures on the wall, and not just look. This is the picture of how I want the floor to look. The floor will look like that. There will be some sort of 3D representation of your space in VR, and I think once they get to that, then everything is going to change.
I want to bring in Judas in just a second. What you guys are saying is interesting, and that's where the train is headed. If you watch the F8 Facebook presentation, you will also see what we didn't mention earlier, is that there are tons of effects that in real time, in real spaces that Zuckerberg showed, like the living room can go underwater. You can put water in there. You put the floor full of Skittles and stuff like that. So undoubtedly, they're working all in parallel, these things that at some point will be very simple to create your virtual room or whatever. Judas, we met a couple of days ago in High Fidelity, and you said that you liked it also. There's an ease of use. So tell me what you like about it and why you think this could be actually pretty successful.
Yeah, it's very simple to use. It's a lot of virtual worlds are quite intimidating and complicated in the first few days.
I say.
But this was just completely straightforward what you had to do. Your friends list was there. You could call people. I had a few like setting up issues with not having images of me tagged in Facebook. But once I'd tagged the pictures of myself, I was able to create an avatar and customize it a little bit.
But do you only get 6 images as samples where you let me just explain this one more. You look in the virtual, you put your headset on, and then you see 6 real life images, and then your Facebook avatar, VR avatar, is being modeled after these images, right?
We'll show you 6 pictures, but you can modify the avatar.
So you tag yourself, you create your avatar, and then what?
Well, you've got a little selfie stick, so you can have a look at yourself in the mirror and take photos, which will post straight through to Facebook.
Perfect for every narcissist on the planet, yeah.
Well, exactly. You spend a lot of time looking at yourself, I know. Just the ease of use.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Drax
is what's striking about it, because it's not doing anything I haven't seen in High Fidelity or other places,
right?
But it's not buried in other stuff, which makes it hard to use.
That's what I ask you, Judas, because you're making a very good point. So it's not buried in this other stuff. You're not getting overwhelmed at the beginning with the possibilities.
Yeah, I think going forward, you'll want the extra complexity these other places offer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the initial clean, clear starting point was like a welcome change, where you don't feel like you're the new walking around with a box attached to yourself, like you get in Second Life.
You often cite your brother as sort of, and every one of us has that person where we go like, okay, that is sort of like a skeptic, and if we can make that person like convinced that this is really kind of a space, do you think your brother will use this thing, and if so, why?
Well, he likes to complain about things using his Facebook, his real life Facebook. This is.
I like him already.
Yeah, he grumbles and complains about what people do, and I think it's just an easy way to just catch up with people in a slightly different way if you've got the technology. They were talking about the kind of video calls you can make in there. And I think getting a call from somebody who's calling you from VR is quite an appealing idea. And that's how you kind of whet people's taste buds who wouldn't normally consider these kind of things.
Now, let me open this to the entire panel. Jump in. Don't you think that what Judith just said, it just occurred to me. Don't you think this could backfire and people go like, they look at this and go like, what kind of novelty crap is that?
Well, it is a novelty. It's all gimmick. But what it is the thin edge of the wedge to squeeze VR into the public consciousness.
Some people would see, this is this constant discussion I have with Second Life folks, is that when the catch-22 is, if you oversimplify what VR is, people may go like, yeah, that's not really, what kind of crap, like this is too simplistic. And then if you hit them over the head with the complexity, go like, oh shit, this is too complex. I want to, this is kind of the problem.
The big question mark for me is, will Facebook manage to turn spaces into something where users can create, like easily create? Because on Facebook they are creative. They post their own videos, pictures, they create memes and write posts, and they create games and music and band websites. And if they get people to build all that stuff in spaces, then it can become interesting. But how easy is that to do? I don't know. In a perfect world, we would have like decentralized internet services and software where people use Linux instead of Windows, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin instead of Linden dollars and Federal Reserve dollars. But we have Facebook, we have centralized services, and we have Steam, which is just as bad as Facebook. And I have a long list of Second Life friends that were banned unjustifiably. So I would wish that it's not Facebook that is controlling how we will experience virtual reality in the future, because it's a big corporation that bans people and censors content. So we will not get that from Facebook, the open world thing. I see High Fidelity has its strong point here, which is peer-to-peer, open source, and very interesting. So we can have OpenSim and High Fidelity and build something like Diaspora as a VR world. But here we are talking about Facebook, and everyone is on Facebook. So let's decentralize everything. Let's decentralize VR and do it open source. That's the thing that I would want.
People do want complexity eventually, though, don't they?
Yeah.
It needs to. Once you're comfortable in a space, then you will spend more time there and try and learn other things. But
Yes,
I think the initial first impression is so important.
Right, and Facebook is on a good way here. I think they did some things that make it very easy and accessible. But of course, it's Facebook. We will see where they will go. We will have no control over it. So
This is going to be huge for commercial places as well. I mean, imagine having your showroom on Facebook. If you've got a company, you've got a showroom where people can actually walk around. I mean, that's going to be fantastic.
People tried that in Second Life. You remember Coke and Reuters and all sorts of corporations came into Second Life. Toyota, I think, was in there, and they completely failed because they thought people would come in and just wander around and look at their stuff. Like it was. Why would people come to see an advertisement?
So Rai is of course raising the issue that we talk about on the podcast often, that we have a huge entity that is basically controlling us because they own our data and we're playing on their playground. That's number one. QB is adding this other thing that I think is also really important, because the corporations, they felt like, hey, we're going to build this cool sort of corporate showroom, and then they realized, no, if people go to virtual spaces, they want to actually escape from from this type of capitalist dominance. So I think Facebook could face that same backlash if corporation. I mean, it all depends on how corporations then use it.
Right now, I mean, well, Facebook is the corporation, right? So they don't have to rely on Pepsi or Coca-Cola or anything else. They're there to keep their numbers up, at all times. And this will be in this space is another place to do that. They want to keep engagement levels up high. They don't want to lose people to Second Life and or Sansar or a lot of the new VR worlds that are coming down the pike. So they will work advertising into this somehow, like they work advertising into everything else, and that'll keep and it'll be kind of a little shady thing. But like you said, this is a very easy way to get in. You've got pictures already there. It makes an avatar for you basically, so you're not sitting there for half an hour. Trying to figure out how to get your hands to be the right size or anything like that. It's easy use, So that's the whole part. And again, there's just 2 billion people on Facebook. So it's just a sort of a gateway to VR. for a lot of people because it's going to be easy enough to get into.
I remember the first thing that when Oculus was bought by Facebook, the first thing some guy made this hilarious trailer where it's like, the game, Facebook, how Facebook monetizes the Oculus purchase, and it's like a first-person shooter game, and then you're running around shooting stuff, and there's ads popping up all over the place.
I haven't seen that so far. I use Oculus Home regularly, and there are no annoying ads in it yet. So,
yeah.
But
there will be. There'll be a billboard outside one of your windows or something like that.
They are going to sell our data and send us a lot of commercials. I'm convinced of that. Yeah.
But it's not going to be the only place to go in virtual reality.
Right.
You'll be able to go to some place that's more democratic or completely open source.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward
to buy into it. You need to have. I use Facebook every day. Maybe I'll get an Oculus.
Yes, I'm looking forward to open source VR. There is a bunch of headsets coming, OS VR, and Microsoft is working on Windows holographic, which will be built into Windows 10, and Google has Daydream. So we will have all these platforms, and I'm hoping for a strong open source community.
The more the merrier. I'm just waiting for myself so I can have this room or a showroom in VR on Facebook so that all my 80,000 followers can walk around.
Right.
And I'm gonna go back to Second Life because I'm gonna be tired of all this crap. No, I mean this is gonna be the inevitable question that I'm gonna end with a little bit later. What is the role of Second Life in all of this? Will there be a role? But for now, Rob is bringing this up, and Raju, we're adding on it. Is basically right now we're facing. Rob put it nicely here. You can go somewhere else if you don't like it. The metaverse basically looks like is not this one world like Second Life. It's going to be very, very fragmented. And my question is let's make the round. How do you envision the future of this interoperability? And I'm going to link on the blog to this wonderful video from 2008. Torley is narrating this, where they did this experiment with these IBM folks to teleport from OpenSim to Second Life and back. Back then it was about that interoperability, interworld teleportation. But right now we're facing, people go head to head. These platforms, High Fidelity, Sansar, VR Chat, Facebook Social VR. How is this ever going to work with like, for example, even avatar, portability and stuff? Joe?
Yep. It's not. It's like not. VHS versus Betacom. Eventually someone's going to win.
It's not going to be like that. As long as all the independent worlds adopt all the headsets, which the headset manufacturers are making that fairly easy to do from their APIs, then you'll have your avatar that lives in Facebook, and you have your avatar that lives in Sansar, and you'll deal with it like that. It's not but as far as like you having all your stuff that you bring with you, it's not even appropriate in certain places. I don't need all my inventory from Second Life when I go to AltSpace VR
or Facebook.
You don't need all that, or Facebook. What would I do with it all? It's not that kind of a place.
But look, Rob, you're making a good point. But for example, I would say like it matters to me how I represent myself, and I represent myself the same way everywhere, and that's
but you do have 14 alts.
I have my Jack Bauer alts for the
for the
Jack Bauer
sexy
roleplay
thing, and
yeah, Jack Bauer and his girlfriend, they're both played by me.
The furry communist.
So to me, this has two aspects. I mean, on the one hand, I think that Philip Rosedale is doing something really great by creating a mesh network of sims in high fidelity, where you use your own computer, your own server, and all this big thing does something similar to the hypergrid probably one day. And then we have Second Life, which sadly for me it's the biggest disappointment that they stopped developing the VR viewer, even though the frame rate is blah blah blah. But it's a shame, and Sansar is not there yet. I think high fidelity is a lot more interesting than Sansar. But yeah, we will have a lot of virtual worlds, and we will have a big number of headsets in a few years. I think there will be drivers for Windows and drivers for Linux, and everything will be possible with every headset. So walled gardens and open source worlds and high fidelity, it could be a mix of all that. And
But I want my avatar. I don't want like plastic surgery every time I go into another one of these worlds.
Me neither. Did you look into Janus VR once? Janus
yes. Everybody's talking about it. Yeah.
web browser as a virtual world. So we will have things like that too, and probably it will be more fragmented than ever. And at the same time, there will be things like OpenSim where we can jump between grids.
I'm inclined to think the world which will win out will be the one who can answer the question, what can we actually do once we're inside? More than just like standing around. People always go, well, what can we do here?
Judas, it's great that you come in with this point because you're the one who said earlier that Facebook social VR is great because it's easy to use. But then again, you're in there, then you've done your selfie thing, and then what?
Well, the social interaction's good, but if you look at Second Life, a lot of people spend a lot of time just dancing in clubs.
That's true.
And is there more
Guilty.
to it? You know?
I'm a musician and a DJ, so that's my excuse.
Yeah, there's educational aspects, but they're always...
I think the one that's going to win is the one that is both the easiest and has the most options. So it's going to be a combination.
Well, I often thought that, like, if it's the mundane aspects of life that if you could do them in virtual reality,
yes,
it would actually be improving. Like if I could do my weekly shop in there somehow and it would just be delivered to my house rather than trying to buy groceries off a website, then
or if you could take a shower or something in virtual reality, and
no, yeah, so
you wouldn't have to do that in real life.
No, but wait a minute. But Judas, are you saying, for example, that you could basically in VR go to your grocery store, you pick out the stuff, and then they deliver it to you? Because I think that's actually a really great idea. Remember, Domino's.
Imagine eBay if you could explore eBay as a virtual world. You can
look at an object someone is selling on eBay, but it will be like visiting an antique store. So while looking at it in 3D behind you, you see something else that you think, hang on, I want that as well.
Exactly.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know which VR app is the one I use most on my Oculus Rift and on the Vive? It's Big Screen.
I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
Big Screen has a lot of functionality that other virtual worlds don't have because you sit in a room with your computer screen and everyone else has a computer screen and you can look at their screens, at the contents of their screens, and they can look at yours. So it's like sitting in a hacker space. I live in Vienna, Austria, and we have a lot of hacker spaces here, like 5 hacker spaces. And so sitting in Big Screen gives me the same feeling. Like I talk about code with people. I talk about what they are designing in Maya. They look at my screen and see that I'm a musician working on some track. So this one guy says, hey, I'm working on this new game in Unity. Can I have some music from you? And I say, yeah, I'll give you a few links, list to them and tell me what you can use. And so, I mean, that's amazing. It's not...
That's really interesting that you say that.
Standing around awkwardly is something that I do in Altspace. And in Big Screen, stuff happens because you have your computer screen with you and everyone else has.
Okay, Rai just created out of nowhere the 2 taglines that the marketing department should use for these respective worlds. Altspace VR, that's where we stand around awkwardly. Big Screen VR, that's where we actually exchange it. No, but it's funny because when I first heard about big Screen, I thought this is really dumb. But then I realized, wow, this is really a perfect solution for this sort of very solitary working space when you work alone at home, or here is that's social. That's like a big open office space, basically.
Yes. And that's what High Fidelity and Second Life even should implement, and Facebook Social, Facebook Spaces.
Okay, we're coming to a close of the show because it's a shorter show because I actually have to hop into High Fidelity as we're taping this. In a couple hours, I need to host the High Fidelity Talent Show, and the reason why I'm hosting it is because I wanted to get in as a contestant, but I wasn't good enough in anything, so they said...
You have no talent.
That's right. So isn't that a great joke? It took me a week to work on it. But anyways...
It's hysterical.
And everybody mentioned commerce, and it looks like, and we always come back to this point that shopping seems to be sort of virtual shopping. So that the next step,
I would love to use social VR to watch television together with people I love. Because I don't do that in reality. I don't have time to watch television. I don't have a television. My family and friends all live all over the country. I would love to watch television together in a living room with some friends.
QB, I think you and I are the elitists on this show in the sense that we want more out of virtual reality than shopping and watching television.
Yeah.
You want to read a book together.
That's what QB and I'm going to form a book club. We're going to read a book to each other. What do you see, QB, for the future of these spaces?
For the future of these spaces, well, I agree that the future of the technology, like high fidelity, is key because that provides the backbone. But there has to be some sort of access point for low tech devices like phones. Mm-hmm. So the future is going to be a mixed environment where some people are accessing from low end terminals, and that's something we read about or most of us read about in Snow Crash. I don't know how many of us actually did read that, but you could tell when somebody was accessing from a low end terminal. So the future might look like that, where you can see somebody who's actually completely immersed in VR and who's just on their phone. That should be the future, I think, making everything completely accessible, but on a common backbone.
We forgot to ask, what is Facebook Spaces like without a headset?
That's a really good question. I have not tried that.
You can't use it without a headset. It's only this interface between video calls and the things that happen within the VR.
No text chat either.
No.
Jesus.
Yeah, which is...
Useless.
So in order to make a video call, you have to put on a clunky headset with tons of cables dangling, and then you have
those stupid controllers. God, I hate those.
Oh, they are awesome. The touch controllers are really great.
No, you got to carry them and wave them about, and I want gloves.
You can still do video calls on normal Facebook on the web. They didn't kill that feature.
Okay, as soon as we're getting off taping this show and I prep for my talent show, I'm going to call you guys. And I'm going to put on my headset. I'm going to call you guys in Facebook VR. Now, Second Life, let's make the round. Is everyone a minute or less? Does Second Life have a future? And I know, Rai, you mentioned that it's a shame that they stopped making it compatible with HMDs, but the simple reason really is that they could not guarantee that you don't get sick because they can't guarantee the frame rates that the headsets demand.
So I still use Second Life in VR with the Control Alt Space viewer sometimes, and of course the frame rate is a problem. But I would still love to have the interface of the project viewer that was a little bit better and more comfortable to use than the Control Alt Space viewer. But yeah, of course it is a problem. I see Second Life staying popular and healthy with all my friends. I don't know about other communities than the one I'm in, but my friends are staying in Second Life for years if the platform survives, and hopefully the technological backbone of Second Life will get better and one day compatible to VR.
Engadget has an article. The headline is, "I don't want to live inside Facebook's vision for social VR," written by a guy named Daniel Cooper. Daniel Cooper is very well informed because he writes, "Whenever a high-minded tech company makes proclamations about the future of social interaction, I'm reminded of Second Life. And here's the kicker. In reality, the Second Life utopianism was misplaced. People weren't all that into communicating with each other."
Yeah. I wish.
This is what... I mean...
People keep bloody talking to me in Second Life. Ugh.
This is what drives me crazy and is causing me an ulcer and gray hair and probably a heart attack at some point. Why do they keep writing like that? I'm sorry, that's just an aside. QB, Rob, Judas, what is your future prediction for Second Life? Will it be a place for rescuing yourself from VR or what?
Well, I see the future of Second Life is the present of active worlds.
Yes.
It's still there.
It is still there.
Yeah, and that's the future of Second Life. It will still be there, but nobody will use it.
Home of the 3D internet since 1995 is on their website.
Mm-hmm.
20th anniversary, active world.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. As long as Linden Lab keeps making a profit, there will be a Second Life.
Of course.
And it's, that could be 10 years, could be 20 years.
No, I understand, but will it have vibrancy? Will it have culture? Will people
eventually?
Because I always say, for me as a documentarian, people go, "Oh, why don't you come to High Fidelity more?" And stuff. For me, there are no stories yet. Hopefully, there will be. The cultures will be formed. But as of yet, the most vibrant culture is in Second Life. By the way, a Fantasy Fair just opened. I'm going to link to it. Fantasy Fair for 10 days. Relay for Life event. It's unbelievable. It's huge. They're collecting millions of Linden dollars for the American Cancer Society. That stuff is not reported anywhere. But I'm getting off a tangent. Judas, 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, Second Life's it's the blueprint for virtual worlds. All the right answers and the wrong answers are inside it.
That is so well said.
Studying it is the way to learn how to go forwards.
That is so well said, and that's so deep, and nobody is doing it. Nobody is studying it. Everybody's just repeating the same shit.
Yeah, they're all making the same mistakes.
Yeah, you got to learn from history, right? Second Life is the history. It's all there.
They should all be forced to read Tom Belsdorf's Coming of Age in Second Life.
They should all be forced to spend a month in Second Life before they develop anything.
I actually had a Twitter interaction after this Engadget thing where I got upset, and then somebody actually said, "Oh, can you tell me someone who knows more about this stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, Tom Belsdorf, read that stuff." And then that person said, "Oh my God, I'm a total Tom Belsdorf addict right now." It's important stuff, and it's not like this stuff is still valid. I mean, it will always be valid because we're humans, and it's about human interaction.
Yes, well, it's the same old story of mankind. A young person invents something and think they are the first to experience it ever, and then the old people sit around and go, "Yeah, we used to do that. We understand it. That's the way it goes."
Mm. The way it goes is that this is the end of the show. And I think we're going to play a little Rai Fagis music
Yay,
to bring us out. Right, what should we play, Rai?
Virtual Boy, please.
Virtual Boy, as you wish, Rai. Thank you, QB Terra, Roblem VR, Rai Fagis, Judas, and Joe Yardley. Thanks for coming on the show. I'm going to hop into the next world. I'm going to hop into High Fidelity. If you guys are listening to this show, the High Fidelity show will be over, but you can still watch it on YouTube. I don't know how many talented people are going to show up there. I have no idea. Maybe nobody, but I know Judas will.
Yeah, I'm in it.
You're in it? Are you going to juggling eggs or something?
Song and dance, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thanks a lot. It was fun.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I'm a virtual boy in a virtual world. You can hurt me and I can hurt you. But let's go to a sandbox instead and dig in the dirt together. Raise a preem with me. Let's build a city. Let's make music and write some poetry. Let's explore this place and let's cause mischief. We're kids after all, right? Second Life children unite. Second Life children unite.
The Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley is a weekly production of Basic Drax Entertainment. The show is supported by Time Portal, SL Artist, Warbug, Bay City You Know for Kids, 01 Heavy Industries Corporation, Extraordinary, Ionic, Maven Homes, Giza Creations, Botanical, Strawberry Sing, Abranimations, Eros Avatars, Caravel Design, The Cube Republic, What Next, Landscapes Unlimited, Fallen Gods Incorporated, and Death Row Designs. Thumbnail by Justin Esparza. Contact the show via Skype, Draxfiles, Avatar Draxfiles, or email radio@draxfiles.com.